strong in faith.
Faith can move mountains. Radio Maria, 91.3 FM.
The voice of truth.
Good evening, our wonderful listeners. It's another beautiful Tuesday evening on Radio Maria 91.3 FM, the voice of truth. It's your program, How Dare You? We're here again. It's a topical health program that comes every 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. And of course, today in the studio, finally, I'm sure you've been wondering, where is Ekene? Where is Ekene? He has finally showed up after much. In fact, he absconded. Let's use the word. He absconded from his program. Ekene is here with me today, and Stephanie, your usual host. We're here together again, and it's a beautiful Tuesday. Ekene, finally you're here. So please talk to the listeners. Let them know you're at least here.
I mean, now what carry me go where I don't know. I mean, it's been way too long and it was hectic for a while, but I'm happy to be here.
As long as you're bringing the money in, no problem.
And thank you so much also for holding the fort while I was gone. I heard you did it.
I didn't hold much fort too. But I did that as much as I could.
I mean, that was a good one. I really miss being here and I'm grateful to be back. So, since I'm back, and then since we now a full team again, so let's enjoy today's show.
Of course, I'm sure our listeners are there listening to us, and they're happy we're back together today again, and it's a beautiful Tuesday. So
yes, so on Sunday, the 25th of September to be precise, the world marked the World Pharmacists Day, and I'm sure you must have heard it's being said before that a doctor can kill one at a time, but a pharmacist can kill a lot.
They have come again. Last week it was nurses. We had the field day with nurses. Today it's the pharmacists. But hey, the healthcare system is a beautiful environment. There are people we should celebrate every day. Lives. God heals, yes, but these people help God do his work on earth. And we can't stop celebrating them. Okay, we had the nurses here last week and it was beautiful. People called in to share their experiences with the nurses. But today, it's about the pharmacists.
Exactly.
I want to say to every pharmacist out there, congratulations and happy Pharmacist Week. I guess this whole week is for them.
It should be dedicated to them. It should
because it's serious. All those Panadol people are taking, now them.
And so also, I mean, you know that the retail pharmacies in our community serve as almost the first point of call for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean,
you don't know all those mixers. Once you just say my head, everything will just enter.
Well, those ones are not.
Is it the ones you said just now?
Training. Those ones are not pharmacists.
They all call themselves pharmacists, though. Okay, but apart from that, pharmacists, there are people worth celebrating, and this week is for them. And we'll always celebrate them. We have in the studio two wonderful guests. They're friends and they are pharmacists, and they've made out their time to come and celebrate the day with us. So if you're listening to us, get set to call in, share your experiences, appreciate the pharmacists. They want to also hear from you. They are integral to the healthcare system. And with us today in the studio, we'll be having Mrs. Ritmwa Guruman. She's a pharmacist, a public health and supply chain specialist, a beautiful mother. If you see her, you want to be a pharmacist. A mother with 3 children. Trust me, you will go and enroll to be a pharmacist. Not just because you want to japa, but because you want to be like her. Also, we have Soro Mpas Ibanga. Permit me, sorry. He's a business development executive.
The Zone on Healthcare.
Okay, and then the National Vice Chairman, Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria. Wow, Young Pharmacists Group. Okay, no, that's why we're going to have a field day in the studio because we have elites with us now. Ekene is
Big boy Sabi.
Then Sabi well. Okay, so you're welcome to the studio.
Thank you. So can we meet you guys?
Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon to our viewers. So I think I've been introduced already.
Just told you to your own way.
So I'm Mrs. Ritmwa Brumnan. I'm a pharmacist, public health and supply chain specialist. Um, I'm a pharmacist with over 13 years work experience. I'm a wife and a mother of three beautiful children.
She's also
Thank
beautiful. Okay.
So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Isoro. Good afternoon, the guys are doing a great job here.
And apologies for murdering your name earlier, by the way.
Okay, I'm already Ekene. Don't pick that up again.
It's all right. My name is Mbas Isoro, but I felt the Isoro would be very easy
Okay.
for us to pronounce.
Okay, we'll just do with it. Sorry.
So I'm a business development executive with Zolon Healthcare,
Okay.
subsidiary of the Luzon Group.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm also the national vice chairman for Young Pharmacists Group of Nigeria, a group that has over 15,000 young pharmacists. I mean,
Comrade.
below the age of 25, and then
Okay.
5 years post graduation. Yeah.
So, pharmacists, if you're hearing us, we have your comrade here.
So I'm a pharmacist. I'm not yet married, so I'm looking at doing that.
Okay.
Sometime next year.
Okay, so
Apply
potentials,
with,
I'm sure
apply
you're
with
listening.
Dean. Apply with Dean. We'll
I'm
give you
sure-
a phone number to call very soon.
See, let our listeners just pardon us. Today we are here to have fun. It's happy day. It's a happy day. It's happy pharmacist week now. Come on, it's not every time serious business. Okay, so we welcome you both to the studio. And for our listeners out there, please we'll open our phone lines. Today is a day of just calling. Let's have fun with the pharmacists. Tell us your experiences, ask your questions, ask your clarifications. 081 084 475 18. I'll take it again. 081 084 475 18. So please, if you're listening to us, do well to call in. I have my usual callers, and I'm waiting to hear from you today what you think about the pharmacist, and share your experiences with us. So we'll go right on a short break. When we come back, we'll dive right into our topic of the day.
Welcome back to Healthier You right here on Radio Maria 91.3 FM, the voice of truth. If you're just joining us, this is your health show, Healthier You, which comes your way every Tuesday by 4 p.m. with Stephanie and Ekene. And today in the studio, we're marking the World Pharmacists Day, which was celebrated on the 25th of September, which was 2 days ago. And so in the studio, we have two pharmacists who are well grounded in their fields to help us talk about the pharmacy profession. And with us in the studio, we have Mrs. Rikwa Grumnan. She's a pharmacist, she's a public health and supply chain specialist, and a married woman with three beautiful children. Also, we have Usoro Ibanga. He's a business development executive with Zolon Healthcare, and he's also the national vice chairman of the Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria Young Pharmacists Group. So, once again, welcome and thank you so much for being with us here, despite the very short notice I must add. So we're very happy to have you guys here. And so we're going to kick off the show.
Our listeners, please, if you're here, just remember to call us in and share your experiences. Let's celebrate our pharmacists together. They want to hear from you. They want your feedback. So please call in and tell us your experiences. Thank you.
Thank you. So we'll start with you, pharmacist Osoro. So let's see, when we talk about a pharmacist, we're celebrating the World Pharmacists Day. So who is a pharmacist? If we may ask. I mean, who is a pharmacist? Because I mean, people may have different understanding of what who a pharmacist is.
Okay, I thank you so much. I would like to take it from the academic point of view. It's not everyone you see over the counter that is a pharmacist. To become a pharmacist, you have to go through the university system to obtain your Bachelor of Pharmacy or Doctor of Pharmacy. Nowadays we have both the Bachelor of Pharmacy and then the Doctor of Pharmacy. And then it will take you nothing less than 7 years to become a pharmacist. That is 5 years of studies. If you are doing the Doctor of Pharmacy program, it will take you 6 years to conclude, and then internship, and then your NYC. That adds up to, for the Doctor of pharmacies that add up to 8 years. For Bachelor of Pharmacy, you have 7 years to run with. So it takes us massive 7 years to become a pharmacist. In the, you know,
Okay, sorry, please let me come in there. I'm hearing something. Let me just come in there. Okay, we have the B farm
yes,
and then D farm.
yes.
Okay,
So let's just say
Farm
it's,
D.
yes, let's just say it's a transition. The pharmacy profession in Nigeria is evolving. It's
Okay.
trying to catch up with the global trend.
Okay.
You know, where pharmacists are more clinical oriented.
Okay.
You know, they put patients at the center of their practice as pharmaceutical care.
Okay.
So the transitioning is happening and it's taking place in some universities.
Okay, so
already
to our level now, if I want to read pharmacy, for instance,
okay,
I'm allowed to actually choose either going to read B farm.
it
Oh,
depends.
that's
Actually,
Bachelor of
you
Pharmacy or
don't choose. It actually depends on the university you are going to. There are some
Okay.
accredited university now.
Okay.
For instance, the University of Benin, who everybody knows, is offering a B farm.
Yeah, we'll just go there straight.
So that will take you 6 years. You do internship,
Okay.
and then you do your NYC, and then you are certified. You are licensed as a pharmacist. A pharmacist is a very polyvalent individual who is skilled at what he does, basically drugs and taking care of humans, I mean patients, you know. So our goal as being a pharmacist is basically to, you know, make sure that your drugs at every point is safe. You know, we encourage safety, and then we also try as much as possible to make sure whatever you take into your system is efficacious. It works, because it will not be well that you meet a pharmacist, he or she gives you drugs, and then you come back still feeling the same way. That's, I mean, it's a lot of disappointment. So,
Okay, so
the
if I get you,
Mhm.
I can have headache
Yes,
and I'll come straight to the pharmacist.
of course.
It's better.
A pharmacist is clinically oriented. You know.
Yes.
He knows, I mean, we spend almost throughout the 5 years.
Sorry for
studying-
our listeners, for our benefit of our listeners out there. Okay, we're talking of trained
Pharmacists.
Please,
Now,
let's
there are
get it
there are
in
differences.
Yeah.
We have pharmacists, we have others.
Oh, that's
I'm coming there. I'm coming there. So, okay.
So let me my
Okay. So now something to say about it.
Okay, so thank you very much. I think Usoro has done a lot of justice by providing a background. And what I would like to add, like he mentioned lastly, that we have trained pharmacists and we have others. So after the course of the training, you are licensed to control
Okay.
and manage what we call poisons.
Okay.
The drugs are relatively poisonous in as much as they're efficacious as well. So we're licensed to control, regulate, and like he said, we ensure safe medicines to you. And safety also goes beyond just making sure that the drugs are well manufactured. We're also concerned with what happens to you after you
management,
take
yeah.
yes. So the adverse drug events and all that are also part of pharmacy practice. So by and large, we
the drug experts.
yeah, we're the drug experts.
Okay.
We
We're
know
the
our
drug
drugs.
Yes. The thing is, if you're listening to us, please do call in 081 084 475 18 081 084 475 18. I must repeat that we're celebrating the pharmacists today. From what they have said, if you know you don't have the number of the pharmacists, better go and get one. Because they're telling us now that there's some drugs that are poisons, and not that they are made to be poisons, yeah? From what I gathered, not that they are made to be poisons, but due to the adverse effects, probably the exposure and all that.
And I think also if you take it as a dose that is not
Yeah,
recommended for you.
I think I have to chip in something there. All drugs, but all substances.
All substances
are poison.
Yes, all poison, all they are all potential poisons.
It is me that makes it very safe.
Safe.
Okay, we have a call already. So who is our first caller? How is my tambourine?
Good evening and welcome to Healthy You. What's your name and where are you calling from, please? Hi, Chawa from Apple. How are you doing? Okay, so what's your contribution for us today? Thank you so
Hey,
much.
Chama, you're pharmacist
Thank
yourself.
you.
It's a real day.
It's a real day. We didn't make it up now.
It's a real day. On the 25th of September of every year, it's celebrated.
So this week, they were just giving it to the pharmacist.
I,
Okay,
oh, that's a
we
good
inspired.
one. That's a good one.
We inspired, Chama. We inspired. So you have to stay tuned to the program so you get to learn more about who a pharmacist is. I'm sure you're already getting an insight into it. I'm listening.
Okay, so do you want to say something else?
Only you also own hospital, Sha.
You want to run the entire hospital by yourself?
Okay, but it's what you can do. It's achievable, But it's just that you have to train in both aspects because nursing have their special training and pharmacists have their special training.
Yeah.
So you have to choose your preference.
Actually, it is doable.
Yes, it is.
Because we have, when you're a pharmacist, the profession trains.
Okay,
you
sorry,
to
we
do-
have another caller. Is Shoma still on the line? Okay, can we take that? Yes, good evening.
Good
Where are you? Your
evening.
name and where are you calling from, please?
Okay, so from W, you're welcome to the show. What do you have for us today? So, thank you so much.
Do we say same to you? Pharmacist.
Okay. Okay.
Okay,
Okay, we'll take
answer
note of
that.
that and to be answered in due time. Right. Thank you.
Okay, so if we get you right, it's adverse reaction to
Yes.
drugs. Yeah. Okay, so thank you for our callers. We're still waiting for others.
So I think we start off with Choma.
We're
Who wants to
talking
do-
about
who wants to do nursing
nursing and
a pharmacist too. So you're saying something, pharmacist, sorry.
yes, you're saying something,
So I
Choma.
said it's doable because for you to become a pharmacist, you are already very versatile enough. We have pharmacists who have become lawyers,
Yeah.
and from becoming lawyers, they have gone on to become doctors. You understand? So some of them hold 3 degrees. Pharmacist, from pharmacist, lawyer, and then so pharmacy serve as a bedrock. It will be a pretty combination for Choma to
Very good one.
to be a pharmacist and then to be a nurse.
Yes.
It means patients are safe.
Yeah, very
In our
safe
hands.
because you
Some
as the
pharmacists-
nurse, you're administering a drug,
Yeah.
and then you see we have another caller. Okay.
Good evening, welcome to Healthier You. What's your name and where are you calling from, please? Okay, Niger State, you're welcome. Okay, so what do you have for us today? Okay, we'll take note of that and the pharmacist will answer in due time. Thank you so much.
Okay. Yes. Good evening. Your name and where are you calling from? This is How Dare You on Radio Maria 91.3 FM.
Maria.
Good evening. Good evening.
Okay, you're welcome, Mr. Manuel. Okay. Mhm.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you, Emmanuel. Noted. We'll get back to your question. Okay, we have three questions on board from our callers. The first one is the adverse effects on drugs. Okay, how do they manage the adverse effects on drugs? I'm sure you will help us with that. Let's start with that, please.
Okay. Okay, so with respect to adverse drug reactions, they vary depending on what you've taken. Maybe it could be that you've taken an overdose, or it could be that you're taking the exact recommended dose, but because of how individuals, yeah, vary in terms of their genetics, they react differently. So what is advised is you go back to your healthcare provider. That's the first basic step. You go back to your healthcare provider, and then at that level they are able to assess and detect that advanced drug reaction and then help you manage it. So aside managing, they are also saddled with the responsibility of reporting that adverse drug
Yes.
reaction, because that is very, very, very important as well. So we encourage people not to take it into their own hands by managing.
Yes,
It's
I
best,
wanted you to link it to
it's
the
best
third
for
column.
you to
Yes.
please go back to your healthcare provider so they can help you assess, because some are actually very severe, some are life threatening,
Yes.
some can result in death, some can result in disabilities. So please, once we have that experience, just go back to your healthcare provider
But
to get.
the thing is, if I must ask, I know that person will also want to hear.
Yeah.
Okay, the situation where he is talking about is he's in the house as a child, and then he takes the medicine, and then probably the child is convulsing, or there's an immediate reaction that has to be taken care of. And then, of course, we have the suggestions of, like what he said, coconut
Water.
water and all that. So at that point, because of the reactions you're already getting, do you do a home remedy treatment, or do you immediately take back to the hospital? Because that is where
Okay,
he is.
so
I think I get the point of
I understand.
the caller.
I've had that experience as a child when I was growing up, and we should first ask ourselves: was the drug ingested by mistake, or was it the right dose of the drug that was given and then a reaction pop up? Because I know most of these events at home is usually when guardians, I mean patient and parents, don't keep the medications in safe box. That's why you see it
Not
on
just the medication too. We have toxic substances around.
yes, toxic
Okay, you
substances,
have
yeah,
kerosene
actually.
and the rest of them.
Uh,
Okay, so people
so
ingest all
those
that.
things should be kept out of reach of children before we can now before um so that we don't necessarily need to go this route. That's the
Yeah.
first point of call. Keep it safe. Then if this happen, I will
During the administration of the drug.
yeah, after during the administration of the drug and there is serious allergy,
Yeah.
which of course is unusual, like my colleague said, the first point of call is revert back, because you don't know if this coconut water you want to take is actually a
Another
contraindication or
indication
something that
of
will
that
aggravate
particular drug.
the allergies,
Yeah.
and which is actually very dangerous, because at that point you don't know what you are doing. So the best thing to do is either rush the patient to the you know the
Closest healthcare
closest
facility.
healthcare facility,
Or
or
contact.
them to come to you. You know, I just hope that something.
Yes.
Okay, so
Okay, so I just to add a bit to what he has said. So most times we may want to try with food or some drugs, but it's very important to emphasize that drugs and food also interact.
they were drug
Yes.
drug
Drug
food
and drug
interaction.
also
Yes, drug
interact. So at
interaction.
that point, you need to rush to your
The
healthcare
healthcare
provider.
provider, because the truth is in as much as we have a lot of home care remedies out there, you google and they show you all what to do and all that. The point is the patients, the Google is not seeing the patient.
And the Google doesn't have the medication history too.
History. So the thing is, the Google does not have the hospital file of the patient. Like, take for instance, when we say sulfur,
Yes.
some patients don't take septrin, yeah? Google doesn't know if your family history has to do with that. And then you actually go to take something that now contains it, trying to fight something else. And then you worsen situations that are already on ground. So that is why we advise that the world has gone really technological and global, yeah, but there are those who have also been saddled with the responsibilities of managing situations.
Yes.
And even your reporting can help some other persons. Like the pharmacist said, they are also responsible for managing and also taking reports of drugs adverse effects.
Drug adverse effects.
Yes, so we need to also report situations like that. That takes me to the other caller's question
About
that says, do
manufacturing,
you manufacture
or just
drugs?
dispense?
Of course. If we don't manufacture drugs, what are we doing? The core of pharmacy is compounding.
Yeah.
We call it compounding. When you are in the dispensary mixing medication,
Okay. So what does the chemist do?
let me
Okay.
that is why you have this myth that all pharmacists are good cooks.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, okay, now you're still in the line of organic chemist.
Because we mix everything in aliport portion.
Yes.
We
yes,
don't
yes.
we do it.
You know,
alphabetically.
this same thing he said, my organic chemistry lecturer actually said the same thing. And he said it at a point where we were learning pharmaceutical chemistry.
Yeah, no,
So,
So that validates what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because
So he said the same thing. You cannot be a good chemist and be a bad cook. You ordinarily have gotten your whole chemical process wrong.
And your measurement and
And
everything.
everything
So
wrong.
let me also chip in here. You look at the logos of most pharmacy schools,
Yeah.
you see that cute mortar.
Okay.
And peso.
Yeah, and the peso.
Okay, so when it
So compounding was a core. I think
Yes.
it had the
It
highest
remains,
grading.
it remains
Yeah.
the core.
It remains the
Yes.
core, and it has the highest grading. So not making it a cross compounding is
So caller, I hope that answers your question. The pharmacy is not just that person you see behind the counter dispensing what the doctor has prescribed. From what I've gathered, from what pharmacists here have told us, they've told us that they actually manufacture, they actually monitor, they're actually licensed to also prescribe to you.
We research too.
And the research and the pharmacy profession is actually
Very
a
broad.
lot. Okay, I think we'll just go right on a short break. And when we come back, we'll continue our program. Don't touch that guy.
Welcome back, our amazing listeners, to Healthier You, right here on Radio Maria 91.3 FM, the voice of truth. As we said at the beginning of the show, we're celebrating the pharmacists today on our show. And with us in the studio, we have Mrs. Ritwan Grumnan. I'm sorry about that. Grumnan, she's a pharmacist, a public health and a supply chain specialist. And also, we have pharmacist Usoro Banga. They are the pharmacists that we have with us in the studio, and we're talking about the pharmacy profession. And we've also had some people calling, asking questions, and making inquiries. And once again, the number to call is 081 084 475 18. We'd like to hear from you. You can call, you can send your messages, you can also drop some messages on our WhatsApp platform, and we'll do well to read it out.
Okay, so we're still celebrating the pharmacist. Okay, the World Pharmacist Day was September 25th, and no, we did not just make up that day. It's their day. Okay, so we're still celebrating them. I'm in the line of celebration. Okay, we have a caller. Hello. Good evening. Your name and where are you calling from?
Okay, welcome, Michael from Lugbe. How are you doing today? Okay, welcome to our show. What do you have for us today?
Wow, thank you.
Yeah. Wow.
He knew his work. No, we're missing.
Yes.
Situation.
Situations.
Thank you,
Thank you
Michael.
so much.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. We'll get that. Now they want to make sharp money.
I'm sure our lady pharmacist will help us answer that question. So why are you guys dominating? That is what he's asking.
So,
Thank you, Mr. Michael, for calling in.
thank you very much. Okay, so I don't know. I think I would say maybe the passion or the interest, but ladies are very diligent
Yeah.
and very passionate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
Tell
I
them.
could say that maybe
Let
that's
them
that's
hear
the
it.
attraction.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
your volume is too loud.
Of course, let them hear it.
The pharmacy profession is very noble, and in the course of the work you would see the passion. Once you get to interact with your clients, it just flows. So I think it has to do with our nature really, and maybe we're encouraging them to do more.
Do
No,
more.
what I
Young
think
pharmacists, what are you doing? Is it okay? Let's not use Mr. Michael's statistics. From your statistics as a young pharmacist coming up and you're seeing other young pharmacists, do you think the ratio of female to male is more?
I think we are doing it the right way, in the sense that we are trying to practice fairness and equality.
Okay.
You know, it's a profession that embraces all.
Oh,
Do you
okay.
understand?
He's coming from
And-
another.
so,
He wants to
so what we are
enter
doing,
gender
even
equality.
in our young pharmacist group, you see that the chairman of the group is a woman.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Okay,
So,
Mr. Michael, your point
so
has
we,
been.
we allow fairness at all points. It's not a profession of men. It's a profession of all. Do you understand? So
Okay.
there is inclusiveness. Thank you.
Okay, well, so and also if I must throw a little light on what Mr. Michael talked about, prescription of drugs. At times, okay, we have another caller. I'm listening. Good evening, your name and where are you calling from, please?
Hello, can you hear us? Okay, good evening. What's your name and where are you calling from? Okay, Jane, how are you doing today? Okay, so what do you have for us today? Okay, so what do you think about that?
My point exactly. Oh.
Okay. Yeah. Fair point. Fair point.
Fair point. Yeah, pharmacy. Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
we can hear
listening.
you.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, Jane. I wish I had my tambourine here now to just give you some shout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you,
Thank
Jay,
you so
for
much,
calling
Jay.
in.
That
We
was very
appreciate your call.
informative.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so I was talking about the what Michael, the contribution Michael said, and I've had a situation where a doctor prescribes Norflex for 2 in the morning, I think yes, and 2 in the evening, and we know that most likely it's a nocturnal, and then the person takes it and is drowsy through the day. And then the person actually took it to a pharmacy actually, a big pharmacy. So it was a pharmacist that attended. And then, of course, probably the pharmacist would have just said, okay, since it's a doctor's prescription, he knows why. But I am bringing this up because of what Michael had said. Okay, there are some things that actually should be questioned. You know,
Yeah.
the doctor may have not, maybe at that particular point in time, it was not in the right frame of mind, or probably has written what he doesn't just know how it came, but he just wrote it. So the pharmacy profession is the profession that is able to save lives actually, because they're like the intermediary. They're like, okay, this is what, this is that, and this is what it should be. So we're actually appreciating the pharmacists. And in doing this, I want to ask you, pharmacist. I think I'll start with you, Mrs. Ritman. What's the very rewarding thing of being a pharmacist?
Okay, so for me, it's being able to help people. That impact, there's this joy, this fulfillment you have when you're able to give medication to someone and then you see the outcome. You see the person thriving after taking that particular drug. So for me, that's just it. Being able to offer that service.
Service, yes.
It's an honor.
It's beautiful being a healthcare provider. Okay, please can you? Sorry.
I think we all have very common interests in that. It's just the ability to get feedback, and the feedback is positive. You know,
Yeah.
I remember while working in a community pharmacy, the patients will come back the next day and be like, "Thank you so much, fam. That medication worked."
Yes.
You know, and sometimes when we even give medication, we go back home and still pray.
I mean,
It actually works too, you know.
So,
Yes.
so when it comes back in that form of gratitude, and you feel so happy, and I think it's really, really rewarding. It's something that motivates you to keep doing more
Okay.
in society.
Okay, so but what's the hardest thing you've come across in your practice? Like, what's the hardest thing about being a pharmacist? What's that thing that keeps you like, oh,
Okay, so I think for me it was back then when internship, but then during the night calls and that it's not, I can see from Ekene shaking his head, it's not really
oh dear.
a pleasurable experience and all. But even in the midst of that, I think I had that encounter. There was a little child that was brought in to the hospital, and I think the child fell and had some form of internal bleeding, and was just taken to a chemist then in the village, and just some palliative care, and before they brought the child back to a hospital where he could get help, it was almost too late. So they just did that like palliative concoction, like you mentioned earlier, giving tetracycline, and so for me that was really my first experience with something that wasn't so nice, and it's always an opportunity to sensitize people to go to pharmacy premises, because like you mentioned, there's a difference between your patent vendors and your certified pharmacists. There you'll be able to get
okay, so in
Yeah,
line with
professional care.
sensitization, what are we doing? Pharmacists, the Pharmacist Council, what are we doing with sensitization to let people know, to teach people about the pharmacy profession, and why they should take pharmacists seriously, and why we should actually, because along the line we've been able to establish that we have people who are just in there, and of course they just have these ideas of when you join this and this it will work, it will join that and that it will work. And then when you go to the grassroots, the yes, the grassroots actually, they just always walk into the store and just they keep chemist stuff as they actually call it. They even call some of them doctors. They just walk in there and just mix. And so, what's the pharmacy profession, the pharmacy council? What are we doing to sensitize people on these issues? Why they should actually seek proper health care rather than walk into where you know it's not a whole certified individual.
Well, the Pharmacists Council of Nigeria has been so hard on quacks, you
Okay.
know, and they have done a whole lot to say sanitize the profession and then reduce the quackery level, you know, to the barest minimum. You know, you cannot. This is Nigeria.
Of course.
I mean,
You cannot
there's always going to be a
eradicate
loophole,
it.
a loophole
large.
somewhere.
So it is also a rule of thumb that if you go to the hospital, you request for to see a doctor. If you walk into a pharmacy, you should request to see a pharmacist.
Okay, so
Do you understand?
listeners, if you're with us, when you walk into a pharmacy,
Yes.
request
To see a pharmacist for professional advices and good recommendations on medications. You know? So you don't just go to the pharmacy, stay at the counter, assume. You know, a lot of patients also, when they go to the pharmacy, they already have this preconceived mindset. They read something in Google, and they are coming to get it from the pharmacy. You know, they come there to put up a whole lot of arguments.
arguments. Yes, they know it all. You know, everybody knows every profession
So
now.
someone that has been doing it first-hand experience, who has been there, you know, has passed through series and had lots of testimonies from others. I mean, the pharmacist is he or she is in the best position to advise you. You know, it's not a place for you to go and put up arguments. So while I was digressing, and the Pharmacists Council is doing a whole lot to reduce quackery, and then you will know a pharmacy and you will know others.
Yeah.
And I think it's also an important
The difference
point
is clear.
because I think part of the thing being a pharmacist is that it makes you grounded in a lot of things. And a pharmacist, I mean, I can say is a natural.
It's not like they're bragging too much, though. It's just that.
I mean, a pharmacist I would say is a natural teacher
Yeah.
and everything because I mean, you also see this joke where they say if you want to set a pharmacist on edge, say something like, "Oh, I stopped taking my antibiotics before this is or something," and then you see them going to full action. Why you should not do that? The pharmacist kind of like sees every opportunity to educate you
Yes.
wherever they are and everything. I think it's something that it comes with the profession. It makes you a teacher at every point in time.
Okay. We've had was it Mr. Michael that complained about male-female ratio and Jane called to actually now we have an exodus of pharmacists out of the country, which is actually alarming. Not just pharmacists, most of the healthcare providers. And we're going to have issues in our country in years to come.
And especially young pharmacists. I mean, young pharmacists will not add.
Do you think this will affect our healthcare system?
So I would say it will definitely strain the healthcare system.
Yes.
Like you mentioned, it's not just the pharmacists, we have the doctors, we have the nurses. So yes, it will definitely put a strain on the healthcare system. But at least we have, I think, Choma, right?
Yeah, who is upcoming?
So we have Choma.
But Choma, if you are listening, don't go and read it just to leave again because we're having issues.
Yeah, we have more people training, and we're just hopeful that the system will get better.
Yes.
And be able to motivate and keep health professionals.
Because a lot
in
of
the
people
system.
are just reading it now to just cope. And it's what you're in the Young Pharmacists Council.
Yes.
I'm sure you've seen
A lot.
A lot.
this past 1
One
year.
just left.
I mean, the question when
I hope you are not about to leave.
the question when you say young pharmacist, when will you jackpot?
When will you jackpot?
That's the question. That's the
I
question.
No. Actually, if before coming, I think I did some statistics. Is it the Nigerian population when you relative to the question of healthcare, how
Yeah.
to strain it? We have by extrapolation over 200 million Nigerians.
Yeah.
And then as of 2016, as the last count of the number of pharmacists, the Pharmacists Council of Nigeria produced, they were about roughly 21,950 something, 58 or thereabout. So
Sorry.
I did the division.
Sorry.
Wait, I'm coming.
I know, I need to get that
The
stats
numbers,
right.
right?
I need to get that numbers, please.
Yes,
Only what?
21,958
In Nigeria?
in Nigeria. As at
Is that even
2016.
possible?
Wait, now I'm coming. So if you even want to extrapolate it further to 2020, say they've inducted new pharmacies and
21,000 in the whole of
for
Nigeria.
200
Million.
million. So if you divide 200 million by 21,000, that's one pharmacist to 6,583 thereabout Nigerian.
We are
You
in for
understand?
it.
So if
Last week, the nurses statistics was scary too.
let me shock you. Let me shock you. Of this 21,000, it is said that only 12,000
Are practicing, exactly.
actively in this country.
Others are
You
doing
know,
market.
like 10 are outside.
Oh,
10,000. So it's a thing that maybe if the system doesn't
but
shake,
the system needs to get working.
no, the system ought to work. The system ought to take our welfare
Yeah.
into
Seriously.
consideration because
Yeah.
most of them that left, they left due to poor remuneration,
Yeah.
no welfare, poor welfare packages, and then insecurity. Everybody's running for their life,
Yeah.
and then there is no motivation. So these are valid reasons to look for.
But we still have somebody has to be here to fix it too.
Yeah, let me
Yes.
also add, I think the employment hasn't really been
Yes,
steady.
yes.
But
Yes.
if you're having only
Because you have-
21,000, come on,
You
why
have
is
some
there an
pharmacists
employment
out
issue?
there who won't mind being in the hospitals, but
Yeah.
then the recruitment processes are quite
Yeah,
slow.
sometimes you hear something like, oh, there's an embargo on employment
Because
and
if
stuff
I
like
say
that.
we have like primary health care in every local government,
I bet you won't see pharmacists in the primary health
are
care.
you serious?
Yeah.
Okay, we're even saying we have medical centers like city centers.
It's not.
It's quite alarming, really.
It's quite
I'm so
alarming,
shocked with the
and
number.
also it's a case of as you said, the welfare package. I mean,
Yeah.
I think last week, so the nurse that was here was talking about a hazard allowance being 5,000 naira.
Okay, that's
And
not
I
even
mean,
good.
and you know that COVID-19 was like such a huge
Yes.
thing
Yeah.
and everything, and then you're getting 5,000 for putting your life on the line.
On the front line.
So I mean, it wasn't a fun experience.
Okay, our time is fast spent. As the world marks World Pharmacists Day, what is the key message you want people to take away about the pharmacy profession? Sarah, I'll start with you.
The pharmacy profession is a noble profession. We are out there joining hands, to make the world a healthier place. I mean, this year the theme is I think give me a moment.
I think it has to be united. So
Yes,
you know,
it's something like that. Coming. Yes, Pharmacy United in action for a healthier world. So we are out there for you, for every Nigerian to assess, and then we have our skills to share with you at any point you approach us.
and at a very subsidized rate.
Okay.
I must add.
Okay, Mrs. Rita, can we hear from you, please?
Okay, so my colleague has said it's a noble profession. Let me also add it's an honorable profession as well. It's being able to help lives, in provide to see the results. It's really gratifying, and to all those there out there who are willing, are thinking about being pharmacists,
Choma.
Choma, and the many other chomas out there, just know that you're making the right decision.
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, the pharmacists are here to sell themselves today.
I mean, good market sells itself. I
marketing
mean,
is too
good
much.
market sells
They've
itself.
been quiet for too long. Right?
They've been quiet, so today they came out all out to just sell their profession, but it's actually a noble one. It's actually an honorable profession. And yes, that you're able to take an antibiotic today, that you are able to take Panadol, just it's the sweat, the research, the thinking, the coming together of pharmacists, and There are people we can never, never underestimate. Because if we didn't have the drugs out there, we
There's no
don't
healthcare.
have.
The entire healthcare.
There's no healthcare.
Okay, so we want to appreciate the pharmacists, and if you are a pharmacist out there, we want to truly appreciate you and say congratulations, and we wish you fruitful service, because the pharmacy, it's not just the pharmacy, healthcare providers generally, it's a noble system to be in, and without the passion and zeal, it becomes very difficult. So, and for those who are thinking of Japan, please, they just said only 21,000. Help us. Please stay back. Okay, please, what are your final words for?
So, I mean, as you said, it's a noble profession, it's an honorable one, and we would like more people to join in.
Yeah, beg you. No.
To join at this point. And also, it will be very important for the government and every stakeholder involved in the healthcare system to try to make it a more convenient place for people to practice. And I'm sure if that is in place, the Java levels will reduce.
So let
I
us
mean-
reduce.
I mean,
we are
because-
going in for chaos.
Yes. So thank you so much, Mrs. Ritwan Grumnan. She's a pharmacist, and also she's a public health specialist and a supply chain specialist, and also pharmacist Usoro Mbanga, sorry, who is a business development executive with Zolon Healthcare and the national vice chairman of the Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria Young Pharmacists Group. Thank you so much for being with us here today. We appreciate, and I mean, it was a very fruitful deliberation, and we had a very wonderful time.
And to every pharmacist out there, keep up the good profession, keep being noble in your profession, and keep holding still.
Don't forget, Hell Yeah You airs every Tuesday by 4 p.m. right here on Radio Maria 91.3 FM, the voice of truth. Next week, Stephanie and I will be here again by God's grace.
Ekene?
Don't worry, I will be here by God's grace. Stephanie and I will be here next week to take you through another exciting episode of Hell Yeah You right here on Radio Maria. And we promise it to be another informative and educative package. From Stephanie and I and the entire Radio Maria, we say happy World Pharmacists Day to all the pharmacists. And
What are for pharmacists? Thank you.
All right.
Have a good evening. Thank you so much.